There's this weird thing that happened to me last month that I can't stop thinking about. I was scrolling through my phone at like 2 a.m., which I do more than I should, and I saw this photo from exactly 3 weeks earlier. Just a random picture I'd taken of my desk. Nothing special. Coffee mug, notebook, the usual mess. And I just stared at it. Because the person who took that photo doesn't exist anymore. I know that sounds dramatic, but I'm being serious. Something fundamental shifted in those 21 days, and I didn't even notice it happening until I saw that photo. And now I can't erase it from my head. See, I've been trying to figure out for a while now why certain things in my life just don't change. You know what I mean? Like, you want something to be different. You really do, and you try. But then days pass, weeks, even months and years pass, and you're basically the same person making the same choices. And I always thought the problem was me, that I lacked discipline, or willpower, or whatever quality successful people supposedly have in abundance. But that photo made me realize something else is going on. Something I'm still wrapping my head around. And I'm going to try to explain it because I think you might be dealing with the same thing without knowing it. It has to do with time, but not in the way you think. Let me back up for a second. About a month and a half ago, I was in this weird mental space. You know when you're functional but not really there? Like you're going through the motions, but there's this background hum of frustration because you're not where you want to be. Not even close. And I kept trying to plan my way out of it. I'd make these elaborate 90-day plans, vision boards, year-long goals, all that stuff that's supposed to work, and it never did. Or it would work for a few days, then I'd lose steam, then I'd feel guilty, then I'd make a new plan. Same cycle, over and over. So I stopped planning. I just gave up on the whole thing. Figured I'd just accept being mediocre at the things I cared about. But here's where it gets interesting. Without trying to change anything, without any grand plan, something did change. And it took exactly 21 days. Not 20, not 25, 21. And at first I thought it was just a coincidence. Like, cool story, random number, whatever. But then I started noticing it everywhere. And I mean everywhere. People who quit something they'd been dependent on for years. The moment when it actually stuck, 21 days after they stopped. Not when they decided to stop, when they actually stopped. Someone who couldn't finish anything they started, then suddenly they could. The shift happened 21 days into actually doing the thing, not 21 days into wanting to do the thing. And I started wondering, is there something specific about this window? Because it's not the myth you've probably heard about habit formation. That's not what I'm talking about. This is different. This is about when your brain stops fighting you. Okay, stay with me here because this is where I started to understand what actually happened during those 3 weeks. You know how when you try to change something, the first few days are hell, like genuinely uncomfortable. Your brain is screaming at you to go back to normal. Everything feels forced, unnatural. Most people think that feeling never goes away, that you just have to white knuckle it forever. And that's exactly why most people quit. Because here's what nobody tells you. That resistance has an expiration date, but you have to make it to the expiration date. And the expiration date is 21 days. I'm not saying everything becomes easy after 21 days. I'm saying something specific happens on a neurological level that I'm still trying to fully understand. But I felt it, clearly. Around day 18, 19, 20, things started feeling less like a battle. And by day 21, I noticed I wasn't thinking about it anymore. I was just being different. Not trying to be different, being different. And that's the part that trips everyone up. Because we think change is supposed to be this constant, active effort, this daily decision to be better. But real change isn't a decision, it's a shift. And shifts take time, specific amounts of time. Now here's the thing that's going to sound weird, but I need you to hear it because it's the part I wish someone had told me years ago. Those first 21 days, they don't feel like progress. They feel like failure. Because you're measuring yourself against where you want to be instead of where you were. And the gap still feels massive. So you think it's not working. I almost quit on day 14. Seriously. I remember the exact moment I was sitting in my car after work, just exhausted, thinking, this isn't making any difference. And I almost gave up. Right there, 7 days before the shift would have happened. Which made me realize how many times I've done that before. How many times I've been 14 days in, or 17 days in, or 19 days in, and I quit because I couldn't see the change yet. It's like standing in front of a door, knocking, waiting for someone to answer, and leaving right before they open it. The answer was always coming. I just didn't wait long enough to hear it. So when people say change is hard, I don't think that's accurate anymore. Change isn't hard. Waiting for change is hard. Trusting that something is happening beneath the surface when you can't see any evidence of it yet, that's the hard part. Because for 20 days, nothing feels different. You feel like the same person making the same mistakes, just with more effort now, more awareness of how far you have to go. But on day 21, something unlocks. I don't know how else to describe it. It's not dramatic. It's not a lightning bolt moment. It's quiet, subtle. You just notice you're not fighting yourself anymore. And that's when I looked at that photo from 3 weeks earlier and realized the person in that photo was still in the fight, still at war with themselves, still trying to force something that hadn't shifted yet. And the person I am now? The fight is over. Not because I won, but because the fight became irrelevant. Here's what I think is actually happening during those 21 days. And this is the part I keep coming back to. Your brain needs proof. It needs to see that you're serious, that this isn't another false start, another abandoned plan. And it takes about 3 weeks of consistent evidence before your brain goes, okay, I guess we're actually doing this now, I'll stop resisting. It's not magic, it's pattern recognition. Your brain is looking for the pattern, and once it sees it clearly enough, it adapts. But you have to give it 21 days of clear signal. Not 10 days on, 3 days off, 7 days on again, 21 consecutive days of being the person you're trying to become. And I know what you're thinking, because I thought it too. What if I mess up? What if I break the streak? And here's the truth, you probably will. I did. On day 11, I completely fell off, went right back to the old pattern. But I didn't start over at day 1, I started over at day 12. Because the days you've already put in don't disappear, they accumulate. Your brain doesn't reset to 0 just because you had a bad day. It remembers the 11 days of new pattern. It's still building the neural pathway. You just need 21 total days of the new pattern being more consistent than the old one. And once you hit that threshold, something clicks. I can't explain it better than that, it just clicks. So if you're trying to change something right now, and it feels impossible, and you're wondering if you even have it in you, stop asking that question. You don't need to have it in you for a year, or a month, or even 2 weeks. You need to have it in you for 21 days. That's it. That's the window. That's the amount of time your brain needs to stop treating the new version of you like an invader and start treating it like home. And I'm not saying your whole life transforms in 21 days. I'm saying the mechanism of change activates in 21 days. After that, it compounds, it builds. It becomes easier because it's not you versus your brain anymore. It's you and your brain moving in the same direction. But you have to make it to day 21. Not day 10 where you feel motivated, not day 7 where it's still exciting, day 21, where it's boring and hard and you're not sure it's working. That's the day that counts. That's the day the door opens. And when I saw that photo from 3 weeks ago, I realized I'd finally walked through it. Not because I'm special, not because I finally figured out some secret, but because I stayed 21 days and my brain stopped fighting me. So that's all I wanted to say, really. If there's something you want to change, you don't need a perfect plan. You don't need infinite willpower. You need 21 days. Just 21. That's all.